Minecraft's recent drops have been amazing. However, there is an update that I'd love to see Minecraft receive in the near future, and I have found the perfect mod for it. This is Farmer's Delight. Now, given the name, this mod focuses on farming. However, it also adds in brand new weapons, blocks, and a whole load of new foods. So let's take a look at this entire mod. And we'll start with the brand new blocks. These are the cabinets. Now, to craft these cabinets, all you'll need to use are 6 slabs of any plank variant, as well as 2 trapdoors to create yourself a cabinet block. And this essentially works like a barrel or a chest, but just helps to add more variation into the game. And obviously it works with all wood sets. We've got the oak, spruce, birch, jungle, acacia, dark oak, mangrove, cherry, bamboo, pale oak, crimson, and warped. And honestly, these are such cool designs. They all have their own sounds to them as well. And the cabinet essentially just works as an extra storage block that you can use in your Minecraft builds. Next, we have some of the coolest looking blocks in this mod pack, and we'll start over here with the basket. Now, the basket is very similar to the cabinet as it is just a chest, but it works more like a shulker box, so you can place it in any rotational angle. However, obviously, if it has items inside and you break it, it will drop all of those items. However, one cool thing about the basket is the fact that you can drop items on top of it, and it will pick it up just like a hopper. Now, the basket is crafted with 2 items, bamboo, obviously in vanilla Minecraft, as well as this brand new canvas item. And this is a very useful item. Now, to actually obtain the canvas item, you'll need to use another brand new item in this mod pack, which is the knife, which we'll be taking a look at later on in the video. And essentially, you just need to break short grass until you get another new item called straw, where you can grab 4 straw to create 1 piece of canvas. And straw also has some other uses, which we'll cover in a bit. Now, once you've gathered up the canvas, you can place 4 bamboo in the crafting table, as well as 3 pieces of canvas to create yourself a basket, which is honestly such a cool looking texture. It looks just like scaffolding as well, and has a really cool sound to it. Now, the canvas also has some other uses, but we'll cover that after you subscribe. Now, if you take the canvas item into the crafting table, you'll see that 1 canvas creates 2 canvas rugs, which is just a brand new decorational item that you can add to your world, and it's a really cool look. I like how it slightly extends over a block. I just think it's a really cool detail. Next, if you take 2 canvas and 2 pieces of straw, obviously obtained by breaking grass, you get a brand new tatami block, I believe that's called, and it's just another decorational item. As you can see, if you place it on top of each other, it will connect, which is a really cool design. And it also has some other block variants as well. We've got the full tatami mat, as well as the half tatami mat, which works just like carpets. And if you get the tatami block into the crafting table and place 1 in, you'll get the full tatami mat, which then you can half as well, which just serves as a really nice decoration you can add to your Minecraft worlds. Now, the canvas also has some other uses. For example, placing 6 bamboo in the crafting table and 1 piece of canvas creates scaffolding, as it works a bit like string. Or if you place it in the middle of a crafting table and surround it with 6, you'll get a painting, so you don't need to use wool. Additionally, you can craft a sign using the canvas items to create yourself a brand new canvas sign, which is a really cool looking sign. And using the crafting table once again, you can dye them any different color. And if we look in the creative inventory, you'll see where we've got all the colored canvas signs, as well as all the colored hanging canvas signs. And all of them just look so good. Like over here, I decorated with the white hanging sign, and that just looks so cool. It looks like a painting item or something, but it's just a really nice detail to add to your world. Now, obviously, the canvas item is crafted with straw, which is another really cool item. First of all, you can craft a straw bale with it, which is like a brown looking hay bale, and it just looks so good. Works really well for decoration, as you can see in the roof of that build over there. As well as this, straw serves other purposes. For example, being placed in the crafting table with 2, create yourself rope, which is a brand new item, which obviously you can place down, and it works a bit like a chain with how you place it, but you can essentially just climb up and down it. It's also used for farming, which we'll cover later on in today's video. And another use of this rope is the fact that you can create a safety net, which you can then place on the ground and then jump on top of to avoid taking fall damage. Now, straw also has some other uses. For example, you can craft packed mud with it, using 2 mud blocks as well as 1 straw to create 2 packed mud, or you can also craft leads with it just by using 5 straw, and it only creates 1 lead, so it's slightly cheaper, but also you get less than if you would craft a lead with string. Now, there is another block that straw has helped to craft, but we'll cover that in a bit. As now I want to take a look at the brand new weapon in this mod pack, the knife. But first, if you want to support me and my channel, consider becoming a channel member. This way you get to see previews of upcoming videos, as well as being able to share your video ideas. Members will be featured inside of my Minecraft world by being written into a book, and for $5.99 a month, you can be named after a mob inside of my world. Simply press the join button or the link in the description. Now, in the Farmer's Delight mod, there are 5 variants of the knife, starting with the flint knife, which is crafted with 1 flint and 1 stick. Then we've got the iron knife, diamond knife, gold knife, as well as the netherite knife. Now this knife can also be enchanted just like a sword. However, you can also enchant it with a brand new enchantment that this mod introduces called backstabbing, which essentially deals more damage to a mob if I hit it from behind, as you can see. It does slightly more damage to this pillager than if we were to attack it from the front. Now the knife does have multiple uses. As we saw earlier, you can break grass with it to create the straw item. However, it's also useful for killing mobs. For example, if I kill this cow, as you can see, it guarantees drops leather, which is a really cool feature. As the same with a chicken, as this mob guarantees the drops of a secondary drop from a mob, such as leather from a cow, feathers from a chicken. However, if you kill a pig, it will also give you a brand new item, known as ham, which is a brand new type of food we'll be taking a look at in a bit. Another way that you can get ham as well is by killing the hoglin. And there, you'll get another piece of ham, which is also a really cool texture. Another useful part of the knife is the fact that it breaks straw-related materials as well as cobwebs a lot faster. Now the knife does serve another purpose as well, and that's on this brand new block called the cutting board. As Farmer's Delight also introduces brand new workstations into the game, we've got the stove, the cooking pot, the skillet, as well as the cutting board, which we'll take a look at first. To obtain the cutting board, you'll need 2 sticks, as well as 4 wooden planks, and it will create you a brand new cutting board item. Now the cutting board has many different uses. For example, you can place like a brick block on it and use a pickaxe to cut it up into the different brick items, or you can use a log to strip the log, as well as getting a brand new bark item, which we'll take a look at later on, or you can use a shovel to get clay balls from clay, or if you've got some leather items such as leather boots, you can use shears to get a piece of leather back. Now the main use of a cutting board is obviously for cooking, as you'll be able to place different food items on it. For example, I've got a pork chop, and you'll be able to use a knife on it to get different items. For example, we just got raw bacon from a pork chop. If you put the pork chop in your offhand and click with a knife, you get loads of pork chops very quickly. As well as this, you can shift click on top of the cutting board to put the knife into the cutting board, as well as doing it with other items as well, like we've got the shovel inside of it. If we take that out, we can also add the pickaxe, which obviously looks really cool. Now the cutting board works for loads of different types of meat. For example, cutting up raw beef will give you minced beef. The pork chops will obviously give you bacon. The mutton will give you mutton chops. Cutting up chicken will give you raw chicken cuts, as well as bits of bone meal, which I think is really cool. And then cutting up raw cod will give you raw cod slices, and raw salmon will give you raw salmon slices. And these are just some of the many different food items inside of this mod. Obviously you can cook them as well, which are fairly good sources of food. For example, the cooked bacon gives you 2 hunger bars, whereas the cooked mutton chops gives 1.5. Same with the cooked cod and salmon slices. And you can also cut cake as well to get 7 slices of cake, which just work as a mini food source. Which also gives you the speed effect, which I think is a really nice detail. Another cool feature of a cutting board is you can put flour on it to cut it to create 2 dye, which is a really cool feature actually, because normally a corn flour would craft into 1 dye, but cutting it with a knife gives you 2. Or if you use a pickaxe on deep slate, you'll be able to get cobbled deep slate, which is actually a much quicker way than just placing it and then breaking it to get the cobbled deep slate. You can just quickly click on the cutting board with it. And obviously if you're in survival, this will take durability off. There's also some other foods you're able to cut on the chopping board, but to do that we'll have to take a look at the crops. Obviously we've got to take a look at these workstations as well, but Farmer's Delight adds loads of brand new crops into the game, which I think we should take a look at now. Now taking a look at this cabinet, we get brand new crops. We've got the cabbage, we've got tomatoes, onions, rice, the rice panicle, cabbage seeds, as well as tomato seeds, which you actually plant into the ground. As well as that, we've got loads of these wild crops. We've got the wild rice, wild cabbage, wild onion, tomato shrubs, wild carrot, wild potato, sea beet, as well as these brown mushroom colonies and red mushroom colonies. Now these wild crops will spawn throughout your Minecraft world. For example, these tomato shrubs more often spawn in the desert and warmer climates, whereas these onions tend to spawn in forests and plains biomes, and you'll notice that they'll always have alliums around them, as that's what an allium actually is in Minecraft. It's more like an oniony sort of flower. And for the rice, it sort of more spawns in like wetter areas such as the swamp. Now obviously for the wild carrots and potatoes, they just drop carrots and potatoes, as that's what's in default Minecraft. The tomato shrubs will sometimes drop a tomato item, but it will also drop a tomato seed. Same with the cabbage dropping a cabbage seed, and the onion will just drop a raw onion, as they can be planted down straight away to create the onion crops, or you can create tomato plant, or you can create cabbage seeds. Now according to the Farmer's Delight wiki, the tomato plant will not actually need water to be hydrated to grow quicker, and you can also place rope above it for the tomato plant to grow up it. And obviously, once it's red like that, you can fully harvest it to get the brand new tomato item, which is a fairly bad food source to be honest, only doing half a hunger haunch. And sometimes it will also drop a rotten tomato, which is a brand new throwable item. And it also comes with a fun advancement for hitting a pillager with a tomato. Oh, I missed. There we go. We get boo, hiss advancement. As well as the fact that Farm's Delight just comes with loads of different advancements, which are going to be very helpful for your playthrough. Now, the other two crops, the onions, can be bone mealed obviously, and if you're in survival, you can harvest them to gather more, just like you would with carrots or potatoes. And you can do the same with this cabbage. And you will also get the seeds back, which is very nice. Another cool part of these crops is the fact that you'll be able to trade them all with villagers as well. Now obviously all of these brand new crops can be eaten, however they serve more of a use in cooking, which we'll take a look at in a bit. As first I want to take a look at rice, which is a crop in Minecraft I'm really surprised just doesn't exist yet. Now this wild rice can be found throughout swamps and jungles, but can also spawn inside a minecart chest. Now there's actually quite a few types of rice. We've got the wild rice obviously, the rice panicle as well as rice, and it needs to be planted in water. As you can see down here, I've placed down the regular rice, just right at the bottom, or you can place the wild rice on top like this. But then if we grab some bone meal and slowly grow this rice up, you'll see that if it's one block below water, like so, it will grow up into this wild rice, which can be harvested with your fist to get one rice panicle. Or if you have a knife, you'll get one rice as well as one piece of straw. Now if you get this rice panicle, you can obviously head over to the cutting board to cut it into rice and straw. As well as that, it crafts brand new blocks, for example, the rice bale, as well as the bag of rice, which are just such cool looking decorational items, as well as the fact that all the crops with Farm's Delight craft into these crates. We've got the cabbage crate, tomato crate, and onion crate, and these are all crafted with 9 of a crop. But as well as that, we've got the carrot, potato, and beetroot cases as well. And honestly, these crate designs are just so cool. I would love them in vanilla Minecraft. But now that we've taken a look at all the crops, let's focus more on the cooking. Now to actually make the meals in Farm's Delight, you need to use one of these workstations. First of all, let's take a look at the stove. If we head over to the crafting table, you will need 3 iron ingots, 4 bricks, as well as a campfire to create the brand new stove item. Now the stove is a really cool block as it works similar to like a campfire, but you can place up to 6 items on top of it to cook it. However, you can also place other things on top of it, such as the brand new cooking pot or a skillet. Now if we head over to the crafting table once again, you'll be able to craft a cooking pot with 5 iron, a water bucket, a wooden shovel, as well as 2 bricks. And this is a really cool item. First of all, you can actually crouch and click it to change the way it looks, which I think is a really cool detail. As you can see, it's got a handle to it. It's also got the like spoon inside, which I think looks really cool. However, if you actually head over to it, you can open it up and you'll see there's 6 slots as well as 1 for a bowl. And then this is just where your items come out from. And if we open the recipe book, you can see all of these different recipes that we'll be able to do. For example, fish stew is crafted with 1 type of fish, tomato sauce, and an onion. If you want to craft baked cod stew, you need a cod slice, potato, an egg, and a tomato. And then there's loads of other foods as well, like pasta with meatballs, which uses completely different items such as minced beef, which we looked at earlier, as well as raw pasta and tomato sauce. So once you've collected all of your materials, you can add them into the cooking pot. All you will need to do is add a bowl, so it actually fills it up with something. Actually, what happens if we don't use a bowl first of all? Okay, so it trucks out a bowl anyway. Maybe that's because I'm in creative mode. But as you can see, we unlock a pasta with meatballs food item, which we can obviously eat. It does a lot of hunger bars and a lot of saturation. And eating us will give us a brand new potion effect called Nourishment. Now, taking a look at the advancement screen, Nourishing, plated meals will prevent you from getting exhausted or hungry for a while. So essentially, if you have a Nourishment effect active, it means you can just run around and you won't lose hunger. But that's not the only food effect you can get from Farm's Delight. If you add some carrots, cabbage, potatoes and beetroot into the cooking pot and add bowls, you'll soon be able to craft a vegetable soup. And once consumed, you will get the comforting effect. Looking at the advancement screen, warm bowl meals will keep you healing steadily no matter how hungry you are. So basically what this means is if I drop down all the way to like no hunger, I can still regenerate my health. One thing I don't think I mentioned is the fact that you have to use this cooking pot over a stove for it to actually start cooking. Or you can place it on top of a campfire like so. And that comes with another really cool looking design, like a little metal sort of scaffolding over the top of it. I think that's a really cool detail. Now there is another cooking item we need to take a look at, and that is the skillet. Now the skillet, or essentially what it is a frying pan. It's crafted with 1 brick and 4 iron ingots, and is actually used in multiple ways. First of all, you can obviously do cooking, but if you look on it, 8 attack damage and attack knockback, which means it can be used as a weapon. So if I spawn in a couple of pillagers, we can hit them with a skillet, and it does a lot of damage, 2-shotting a pillager. And it also applies a really good knockback effect. As you can see, that pillager is now dead in the void. Now, if you grab some raw meat and place it on top of the stove, you can see that you can add loads of items into the skillet. I believe, yeah, it adds a full stack, so it will just cook that over time. However, I believe also, there we go. If you add the raw meat in your offhand and you hold it above a stove or campfire, you can see that it's slowly cooking it as it goes into my main hand, which I think is a really cool detail as well. If we break that, for example. Also, you may notice that the stove actually deals damage to you unless you're crouching on top of it, similar to a magma block. I just love the fact that we can put like a whole stack of items inside the skillet as well. I think that's a really cool design. And obviously there's loads more food items inside of this mod pack. For example, we've got milk bottles, which clears 1 potion effect, which is really useful. Hot cocoa, which clears 1 harmful effect. Apple cider, which gives you some absorption. Melon juice, which gives some health boost. As well as loads of other things like chocolate pie. We've got glowberry custard. We've got mutton wraps. We've got bacon sandwiches, hamburgers. As well as all these different things like dog food, so you can feed it to your tamed wolf for strength, speed, and resistance. Or you can feed it to a horse for speed 2 and jump boost. As well as loads of other massive meals. For example, a whole roast chicken, which you can't actually just click and eat, as you'll need bowls. If I grab them out of creative inventory quickly, go into survival, you can see we get 4 plates of roast chicken, as well as a piece of bone meal and our bowl back. And these plates of roast chicken do a lot of hunger, loads of saturation, and give you nourishment once again. So if you want some more foods just to mess around with or just use in Minecraft, I definitely recommend using Farmer's Delight. We get so many cool ones like kelp rolls or honey cookies, sweet berry cookies. Obviously we've got the ham and smoked ham, which I believe with a ham, you can just maybe place it in the skillet? No. How do you cook this actually? Is it just a furnace? Oh no, I believe you can use a smoker. I think that's how you do it. Yeah, because it's smoked ham. So if I grab out some coal and put the ham in the smoker, you'll see that it slowly cooks it in order to give you smoked ham, which is a really good food source. But obviously in today's video, I'm not going to go through every single food item as there is so much. If you'd like to see a video, maybe I could do this in hardcore at some point, trying to get every food item, if that sounds interesting. Make sure to let me know in the comments and also make sure to subscribe. But this mod pack is massive and there's still much more for us to explore. For example, the compost block. Now this is the organic compost block, and this can actually be found in villages throughout your Minecraft world, but you can also craft it as well. So if I head on over to a crafting table, you can use 2 bits of straw, a dirt block, 4 bits of tree bark, which is obtained from stripping logs, and 2 bone meal. You'll craft 1 organic compost block. And this is a really cool looking block. It looks just like the inside of a composter, and also I believe it's rotational as well, which is quite cool. But if you leave out the organic compost for a long time in your world, it will eventually convert into rich soil, which is a brand new type of dirt. Now the rich soil is a really cool variant of dirt, as placing crops on top of it, or like items such as like bamboo or something, will make it grow a lot quicker. And if we grab a hoe out, you can actually till it to create rich soil farmland, which is another brand new block. And as you notice, I'm jumping on top of it and it won't get trampled. However, this will still need water to be hydrated. Another cool feature of a rich soil is the fact that if you place mushrooms on it, over time they'll grow up into these brand new colony blocks, which if we head into the survival, will drop multiple of each type of mushroom, which is a really cool feature. And also they just look really cool and would work really well in like decoration, because that just looks so nice. But there we go, that is Farmer's Delight, which just has so many cool items in, especially all the different food items. I haven't even covered half of these, like mixed salad gives you regeneration, I didn't know that. Or like melon popsicles, we got cooked rice, we got beef stew. We got grilled salmon, squid ink pasta, rice roll medley, plate of shepherd's pie. There is so much to this mod. So if you'd like to see me do some more videos on it in the future, such as exploring it in survival mode, or trying to collect every food item, or just like building with it, as you can see over here, I've done a bit of decorating with it, using some of the canvas signs or the straw bales, as well as if we head inside, we've got like a whole cooking area, we've got the cabinets, the canvas rugs, and then as well, we've got the tatami blocks, which has got loads. It's such a good mod, and I'd love to see it added into vanilla Minecraft. Honestly, it just fits the vanilla game quite well as well. So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to subscribe and make sure to check out Farmer's Delight. Also, consider becoming a channel member to get previews of videos early.